The first 2 days of the 2025 NFL Draft are in the books for the New York Jets. They had 3 picks. 7th overall, Armand Membu, offensive tackle, Missouri. 42nd overall, LSU tight end, Mason Taylor. And finally, in the third round, with the 73rd overall pick, Florida State cornerback, Azare Thomas is the pick there at corner for the Jets. And now they've got a slew of selections in the on day 3 of the 2025 NFL Draft, and we want to talk and reveal the top 10 best available players that will be available and are available that the team should consider in this draft. The Jets have the 110th overall pick in the 4th round. They have 2 5th-round picks and 2 6th-round picks. No 7th-round pick on there. So 5 more picks to make for the New York Jets. Let's go through the list. We'll go from 10 to 1 here on the program. Let's show this one up on the screen. Syracuse tight end Aronda Gadson the second. Now you may say to yourself, Paul, you just said we took a tight end, Mason Taylor, LSU, and that's true. But this tight end class is so deep that I would consider doing a discount double check personally at the tight end position. That's how good I feel about the overall positional group. And it also speaks to how shitty the current tight end room is. I don't believe in Jeremy Ruckert. I don't believe in Stone Smart. Mason Taylor has a lot of upside, and there's a lot to talk about it. We've got a separate video talking about Mason Taylor here on the YouTube channel. Feel free to check it out. That's great. But I think there is more to the puzzle here that they can unlock. Let's talk about Aronda Gadson the second. His father played in the NFL. He's got NFL bloodlines. He's got a freaky body, 6'5", 241 pounds. He's 21 years of age. According to Dane Brugler of The Athletic, he is his 8th-ranked tight end in this class. He's a 2-year starter. He was sort of a joker tight end because he came in as a wide receiver and then moved into this sort of flex tight end role, and he excelled in Jeff Nixon's spread system at Syracuse. And he sort of played all over the place. 58% of his snaps were in the slot, 32% were in line. He had another 8% just straight up out wide as a wide receiver, and he became sort of this hybrid role. I got to cover him here in town locally and got to see what he brings to the table. This guy's tall. He's rangy. He could be a mismatch nightmare. He ranked second in the FBS with 17 contested catches. So he's a guy that can bring that to the table. Also, what I also love is this. He's responsible for 16 catches of 20 yards or more in 2024. So he makes big plays as well. Again, I would consider strongly, if I'm the Jets, double dipping at the tight end position and seeing what's up. I've been able to see, unlike some of these players on the list, I haven't seen all these players in person. I can speak to Aronda Gadson as someone, again, who lives here in upstate New York. And my father and I had season tickets for a long time getting to cover the games. My day job is just a sports talk radio host. So Aronda Gadson is someone I believe in. I wouldn't mind a double dip at tight end. Real quick, as we're in the middle of breaking down the top 10 players Jet fans should be thinking about here on day 3 of the 2025 NFL Draft, make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. That's a free way to contribute to the channel. We're live every single day at 7:30 in the morning. I'm your host, Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. Let's move on next. This is one of my favorite players in this class. Let's go to the interior offensive line. North Carolina's Willie Lamin. And for those who don't know anything about Willie, he is a very unique prospect. 5'11", 279 pounds. He's an older player. He's 23, a fifth-year senior. And he's a guy that, has played sort of all over the place. That's why it's interior offensive line. But you see this little guy who's got very unique size for the center position or offensive line position in general, right? So you see the height profile and then the weight on top of that at 279. And he's just a former wrestling background, which I like, which is obvious if you watch the tape or watch the games and see how he sort of overcomes the odds with his size. Here's some more from Dane Brugler of The Athletic. Leverage-based blocker who uses his shorter stature to his advantage. Low pads and base strength help him stop charge in pass pro. Flashes competitive mean streak that frustrates defenders with his intent. And he was described as, quote, a leader and one of the hardest workers in North Carolina's entire program, according to NFL scouts. He's also played a ton of football, 61 career starts across all 3 interior offensive line positions. So there's a lot to like here. Versatility, toughness, leadership, team captain, all that. Obviously, the thing that will make him a very late round draft choice and his official draft grade, I'll give that to you here from Dane Brugler here. He's considered a priority free agent. He's not even expected to be drafted because of the size and it being so rare and unique. There are some teams that have thresholds at the offensive line that aren't even, they're going to take him off the board completely. I think the Jets should think twice. I think their offensive line is terrific. I think their depth is terrific. I think this is the deepest and most quality offensive line the Jets have had since AFC Championship years, but you can't get complacent. Willie Lampkin's just a guy I love a lot. I would be doing my homework if I'm the New York Jets on that individual. Number 9 on the list, North Carolina interior offensive lineman Willie Lampkin. Let's go number 8, Kentucky defensive tackle Deion Walker, another one of my favorites in this class. The Jets have not touched defensive tackle yet, which I would have imagined if I told you that before the 2025 NFL draft started. A lot of you would have been surprised. Some of you would have argued that should have been a first-round pick. Some of you could have argued it's the 42nd overall pick, but at worst case, 73, and obviously that has not happened based on how the board has sort of fallen out here. Deion Walker is a whole lot of man. 6'8", 328 pounds, 21 years of age, and the name should be familiar to Jet fans that are freaks and read mock drafts in August, because before the college football season, I read a mock draft that had Deion Walker mock drafted to the Jets in the first round of all teams. And then he didn't have the year he was looking for this past season, and thus his stock plummeted here, where he's available on day 3 of the 2025 NFL draft. You look at his career, right? And the season that sticks out is 2023 on tape. He had 12 and a half tackles for loss. That was career high. He had 7.5 sacks, career high. 55 total tackles, also career high. And then he had 2 pass deflections. It was a mean streak, and that's also, again, that 2023 season he had. It hinted at what could be possible and why he was considered in first-round pick territory, and then it plummeted. He battled some injuries. There was a very serious back situation that he was dealing with as well. That could cause some signs of concern, could also explain why he's not here. Last year, he was diagnosed with pars defect. That's a fracture between 2 vertebrae in the spine this past season. Dane Brugler of The Athletic with that additional detail, which, again, could be scaring off teams. But when you're on, here's how I evaluate it. Quick detour. When you use a pick in the first round, second round, or third round, to me, I value those picks as premium picks. There should be unquestioned starters on your team or significant contributors. Once we get to day 3 of the draft, which is what this video is all about, the 4th through 7th round, you're chasing traits, you're chasing risk. Those are the kind of dart throws you're taking. You normally don't take that sort of stuff within the first 3 rounds. You take that later, where, again, you're sort of betting on one little thing they may do. Maybe they do one thing elite, but the rest of it's sort of questionable, or a jack of all trades, and then you sort of take a chance from that perspective. Deion Walker, as Dane Brugler says, has rare height, weight, and length combination that, quote-unquote, blocks out the sun with his sheer size. So he is a ridiculously sized human being. The Jets need defensive tackle help in general. I think Deion Walker, this is another position you could argue could be a double dip happening here on day 3 of the draft because of the depth of this class. One guy I would certainly circle is Kentucky defensive tackle Deion Walker. He's number 8 on the list. You can read even more about him in The Beast. A fascinating player. And we just keep going down because it's just like my favorites is what's happening here on the board. Let's go next here. Number 7. I don't even know if some of you even knew this was a college. Central Arkansas. Pass rusher David Walker. The Jets have not touched pass rusher. I thought there was some opportunity here on day 2 where you had Mike Green slipping. Obviously, Donovan Ezuraku out of Boston College. Both those individuals had 17 and 16.5 sacks respectively. Now, David Walker isn't in that same breath. He's obviously at a smaller school you've probably never heard of in Central Arkansas, and his entire career has been spent at quote-unquote directional Arkansas, because prior to coming over to Central Arkansas for the last 3 years, he played at Southern Arkansas, which, again, maybe another school you guys didn't even know existed, but it's neither here nor there. This is no trivia test. So he plays at a smaller school. That's a knock or part of the evaluation process. He's smaller, 6'1", 263 pounds. That could be a notch against him. And he's older. He's almost 25 years of age. Again, another knock. But if you put that stuff aside, and again, that's a lot to unpack, look at the production. The production speaks for itself. This is ridiculous statistics, okay? In his 4 years in directional Arkansas, we'll call it, He had 82 and a half tackles for loss and 39 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, 8 pass deflections, and 244 total tackles. He started in all 45 games. What in the world? Every one of his seasons, he had at least 18 tackles for loss per season. Those are video game ridiculous numbers. 2 of the 4 years, he had double-digit sacks. He never had fewer than 8 sacks in a season. For me, when you're evaluating players that are from a smaller college, do they dominate their level? If they don't, that raises a red flag. If they do, that's what they should be doing. And that's clearly what David Walker has done. One of my favorite prospects in this class, again, Central Arkansas, take that for what you will. The Jets need another edge rusher in the room. You have Will McDonald, you have Jermaine Johnson. How does Jermaine Johnson come back from the torn Achilles? David Walker should firmly be in the conversation for the New York Jets. Give a salute there to my boy, David Walker. Let's go number 6 on this list, and I'm just going to be straight. Miami kicker, Andre Borregales. Okay? A kicker making the list. This is purely for one of our Boy Green Coffee Club members on the show. You could join the Boy Green Coffee Club in the YouTube description down below. Hep is a big fan of the show, watches a lot of our live shows. He wants the Jets to take a kicker on day 3 of the draft, so this is purely for you. Purely for you. And let's give a shout out here to the 5'11", 202-pound Andre, again, Borregales. Here's some more I can share on Andre as well that I can sort of throw out here as we're, when you're getting deep on kickers. He's 5'11", 170 pounds. Borregales' brother is a former Miami kicker, Jose Borregales. Now, Andres missed a 45-yard field goal at the beginning of the season, but then he never missed another field goal again throughout 2024. He connected on a career-long 56-yarder last season. He completed or converted 70% of his field goal attempts from 50 yards or longer. Over the course of his collegiate career, he also handled kickoff duties. So, I won't lie. I'm not going to go super deep scouting on kickers. That's beyond my pay grade. But giving you guys the raw numbers and that he's the best kicker available, that could be something for the Jets because Legatron, Greg Zuerlein, was a dumpster fire last year, and somehow he's still on the roster. So take that for what you will. But there you go, Hep. That one was for you out in the audience. Let's get to our top 5. Let's get to our top 5 here. This is a guy I haven't heard connected to the Jets at all. Ohio State pass rusher Jack Sawyer, who obviously played a critical role in the college football playoff. He's 6'4", 264 pounds, or 260 pounds, excuse me. He's 22, about to turn 23. He's the 11th ranked edge rusher in this class, 58th overall on the big board for Dane Brugler of The Athletic. He had a second round grade, yet he's still available here on day 3 of the draft. Maybe some of the reason is he's not as bendy of a pass rusher as some other guys that are on here. He lacks some of that explosiveness, that burst off the edge, and you can't teach that. So despite playing at this awesome school as Ohio State and winning a national championship, there's a lack of bend here. There's a lack of explosiveness. There's a lack of moves, right? Some people could get into their bag and pull out a counter, punch, speed, this, that, or this, spin move, whatever. That seems to be lacking here from Jack Sawyer, who is, as Dane Brugler described, a little stiff in the ankles. But considering all that, I'm starting with all the negative stuff, sure. Look at the 4-season sample size for Sawyer at Ohio State. He finished up with 28 and a half tackles for loss, 23 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, 11 pass deflections, an interception, 144 total tackles. This was an insanely productive guy despite the limitations. And let me just sort of address this, if this is not obvious already. A lot of these players are going to have limitations. That's why they're available here on day 3. So there will be no perfect prospect, but obviously there's a lot of players I like. I'll try to give you a little bit of pros and cons for everybody. Number 5 on the list, Ohio State edge rusher Jack Sawyer. All right, let's go to this. This is one of the most overlooked receivers in this class, Colorado State wide receiver Torrey Horton. And this is a target for me on purpose. And the purpose is size. Torrey Horton is 6'3", 196 pounds, 5th-year senior, 22 years of age. He's a 2-year starter, outside receiver. You talk about the outside receiver. You talk about his ability to be big. That helps. and he ranked in the top 5 in the FBS in catches with 96, first down grabs 57 in 2023, and he returned for the quote-unquote super senior season this past year. He was limited to 5 games, and I think that's the reason why a lot of people are overlooking him, is because of the injury and not being able to be a big part of the offseason normal process. Spent his first 2 years at Nevada, went to Colorado State, and exploded on the scenes. 2022 and 2023 at 1,100 yards, 71 catches, 96 catches, 8 touchdowns in both of those seasons. Unfortunately, this past year, appeared in 6 games, only made 5 starts, and the numbers obviously are paltry because he didn't play in all those games. 26 catches, 353 yards, and a tutty, which brings me back to my overall point for Torrey. I think he's overlooked because of the injury and people aren't thinking about him. Obviously, we're here on day 3 of the 2025 NFL draft. Sneaky thing here. If the Jets are thinking about receiver, they should be, to get somebody in that room with Garrett Wilson. I think Torrey Horton is the plug, baby. This is something everyone out there in the universe, quite frankly, should be rooting for. All right, let's go to number 3 on the list. This is a touchy-feely one, I won't lie. Clemson DB R.J. Mickens. R.J. Mickens, of course, is the son of Ray Mickens, longtime member of the New York Jets. He's a safety, 6 foot flat, 199 pounds, 23 years of age, will soon be 24. He's the 21st ranked safety on Dane Brugler's big board. Versatile player, can sort of play all over the secondary. He's a really talented player. He's a son of an NFL veteran, which I mentioned, Ray Mickens, his father, who played 11 years in the league, and he's been around that his entire life. I think you could get Mickens as a starting safety on day 3 of the draft. Again, you have Andre Sisco, who's taking over, obviously, one starting position. You have Tony Adams, who signed his restricted free agent tender, so he's a backup option to potentially start if you can't find anything better. But I think your better is this. I think it's R.J. Mickens, and you do what you can to bring him in. He's just rock solid. That's sort of how I view it. He's not the Nicky Manwari of this size, weight, and all this other jazz. He's just a football player, and there's nothing wrong with that at all whatsoever. I think you draft R.J. Mickens somewhere here on day 3. He's a starting safety for the New York Jets next season. Book it. Let's go to our final 2 here. Number 2, Florida State defensive tackle Joshua Farmer. I don't know how the hell this guy's available. I'm just going to be blunt. 6'3", 305 pounds, 22 years of age. He's the 10th ranked defensive tackle in this class by Dane Brugler. 76th overall big boy player here. Received a grade of a 3rd rounder, despite still being available here from that perspective. You look at the statistics here for our boy Joshua Farmer. Played all 4 years at Florida State. He has 11 career sacks, 21 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 2 pass deflections, and 80 total tackles for the big boy out of Florida State. Some of the issues that could potentially be coming up here in the Florida State evaluation process is some of this. There's some inconsistencies with Joshua Farmer. Dane Brugler highlighted, his pass rush approach is linear, and he has inconsistencies with his adjustment path. Hands are not forceful. He's a streaky anchor, mostly because of issues with pad level. Now, the good thing is that could probably be coached. Now, the college production also not jumping out, as we just mentioned, also could be another piece of that equation. So the Jets need a defensive tackle. I think Joshua Farmer could certainly fit that bill, and we're going to have to sort of reevaluate the picture because obviously a lot of defensive tackles, are no longer available. And let's bring it all full circle to this individual. Number 1 on the list is the same number 1 we had heading into day 2. Colorado quarterback Shadur Sanders. I am in utter shock that Shadur Sanders is still on the board here heading into day 3. Now, my father, for instance, is not a massive Shadur Sanders fan, and I know there's plenty of you detractors out there that do not like Shadur Sanders. And by the way, that is your God-given right. You don't have to like Shadur Sanders if you don't want to. But the fact he's still available heading into day 3, I don't know what words I could come up with to describe how ridiculous this is. The NFL obviously is saying loud and clear that they don't believe Shadur Sanders is an NFL quarterback and or that he's not worth the extracurricular activity which could potentially come with Shadur Sanders because, like, Dylan Gabriel, right? Cleveland took him, the Oregon quarterback, who, by the way, I like. I like Dylan Gabriel a lot, but they took him over Shadur Sanders. And here's the story. Dylan Gabriel, no offense to him, is just this guy. And what I mean by that is if he gets drafted, there's normal quarterback stories about him, but that's it. When Shadur Sanders is drafted, you're going to hear from Father Dion all the time. You're going to be hearing Shadur himself is a swaggy guy that some people like or don't like. The fact of the matter is, the Jets should absolutely be all in on Shadur Sanders. I would trade up to the first pick of the fourth round and get Shadur Sanders. To me, he's a tough son of a gun. He has elite toughness. That's something you don't hear often. He got his ass beat at both Jackson State, for that matter, and obviously at Colorado. He got absolutely pummeled. 6'2", 212 pounds. He's the second-ranked quarterback on Dane Brugler's big board. 34th overall player, somehow still available here. He finished top 10 in the Heisman voting. How is this guy available? Even if you don't like Shadur Sanders, it doesn't make any sense. And his career this past season, let's go this past season first, 74% completion percentage. That's ridiculous. Throughout his entire 4-year career, 2 years at Jackson State, 2 years at Colorado, his career numbers are 70% completion percentage, 14,000 passing yards, 134 touchdowns to 27 picks. He has over 100-plus passing touchdowns more than picks. This guy is awesome. What is he going to be at the level? I don't know. But I'll tell you this, all of this is great motivation. He's going to have all the motivation in the world to let the rest of the NFL know you effed up. And there are a lot of people that don't believe in Shadur Sanders. And right now the league is telling Shadur Sanders that we don't think you're worthy. And you know what? The league's been wrong before. Think about every quarterback that's ever slipped. Of course, everyone brings up Tom Brady or Dak Prescott in the 4th round or Tony Romo, who is an undrafted free agent. We mentioned Russell Wilson, who was in the 3rd round. Dak Prescott was in the 4th round. Of course, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. I think Shadur Sanders is going to use all this hate and everything else as motivation. And I think he's going to make some noise for whoever takes the plunge on Shadur Sanders. And there may be some extracurricular activity on drafting him more than your common backup quarterback. I would also say this, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion. I already tweeted this out last night, and people gave me a lot of crap for it. I think the Jets are in a really good position to take on a developmental quarterback. And people are going to say, but Jordan Travis, this dude hasn't even practiced yet. I'm pretending like Jordan Travis doesn't even exist on the planet until he does something. So put him aside. You have Tyrod Taylor. You have Justin Fields. Whatever young quarterback you drafted would be cryogenically frozen as QB3, and that's good news. That means there'd be zero pressure to start. The Jets have fucked up so much quarterback development over the years because they forced guys out there and their offensive coaching staffs have stunk and all these other reasons. Well, we have a brand new offensive coaching staff with Tanner Engstrand running the operation. I am a guy that I give my belief until proven otherwise. Some people say, hey, you have to earn it, and then I will give you my belief. I feel the opposite. I automatically give you my belief, and then when you do negative things, that chips away at the belief that I gave you, if that makes sense. And with that being said, while there's a lot of people talking all kinds of noise about Shadur Sanders, I would be all over it if I'm the New York Jets. It will not be fazed by the spotlight. He's been around it his entire life. This is a guy who's tough as nails. He got beat the F up in terms of sacks and everything else, and he just buckled his chin strap, got back up. Again, this guy was top 10 in the Heisman voting last year, the months ago, and now he can't even get a team? And Dylan Gabriels of the world are being drafted over him? Okay, I don't know what's up with the level of disrespect. Mel Kiper said it's quote-unquote disgusting. It makes no sense to me, but if the Jets have an opportunity at 110 overall or trade up, Shadur Sanders, take this man. I think he has a chance to be a really, really good player in this league. And I know, again, this will be unpopular, and there'll be people in the comment section saying, Paul, you're an idiot. We don't need a quarterback. What about defensive tackle? What about wide receiver? What about this? What about this? What about this? None of those positions are as important as the quarterback position. And the league is split into 2 camps. You either have one or you don't. And if we want to go even a little bit further into that, you either have an elite one, some teams do. You have an average one, some decent more teams have that, or you don't have one and you're floundering. And the worst place you could be is purgatory, somewhere in the middle. Swing for the fences, young man. Swing for the fences and see if you can hit the QB lottery and be rewarded for your investment. Shadur Sanders is number one on my list. I would strongly consider it at 110. I would trade up from 110 to get him. What a value to get, as Dane Brugler has graded him, a first-round quarterback this late. And obviously, he's going to be ultra motivated to prove all the doubters wrong. That sounds pretty gosh darn good to me. They've built around Justin Fields so far, but why wouldn't you dip your toe into the water of Shadur Sanders? Some people won't want the quote-unquote circus and everything that comes with that. Shadur, like, if you think about Dion, and I don't want to go too long here for this video, but Dion Sanders is one of the hardest working men that have ever existed in the universe. And a lot of people don't like prime time for whatever reason. He has carved his own path, man, and he's been a wildly successful man that should be an inspiration to others. I have no doubt, and obviously played in the NFL for a long time. Shadur saw what it took for Dion to be at the NFL level and to continue doing everything that he does. Why wouldn't you believe in that? And I do. So, Shadur Sanders, I hope you are a New York Jet, and I hope your wait is not much longer here on day 3. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this very late night video. You guys could be watching this whenever the hell you want, getting yourselves ready for day 3 of the 2025 NFL Draft. Couple of things here. After, we will not be live streaming day 3, but after every single pick that the Jets make, we will quickly come on here. I'll give you my live reaction video. I recorded on my phone as we're all watching it together with the chime, and that's organic, real. I'm not faking anything. We have videos just like this where we're breaking down the top 10 prospects. We're live on the program every single day at 7:30 in the morning. If you guys prefer the live feature, you can call in, ask questions, and things of that nature. Totally feel free. And yeah, it's a good combo platter. Appreciate all the support. Again, on Thursday night, we did a 5+ hour live stream of the entire draft. Thanks again to all our wonderful guests and you guys calling in for that. And make sure you like the video and hit subscribe. That's a free way to contribute to the show. If you like what I'm doing, you can support the show. Hell, even if you hate what I'm doing, I mean, I would take a pity hate, pity subscribe. So I'm totally not against that. I'm totally not above that either. Just want to throw that out there. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Like the video, hit subscribe. Let us know in the comment section down below, are there any players I missed from my top 10 list that you think the Jets should be considering in this draft? Make sure you give us those in the comment section down below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you. Take care.